that can change the course of history for Indian people all across the nation.
Today's a good day talking to you because I want to get you to understand what colonialism is all about. And whomever is watching this can get a grip on their own lives, because what's happening in my country is also happening in your country. Because all colonialism by the imperial power of the United States of America is practiced and perfected on Indian reservations and then sent out to the world. And they also bring back those policies upon the backs of their own people, the American people, be they Democrat or Republican. One of the ways they do it on the reservation, the Sioux Indian reservations of the Republic of Lakota and other Sioux Indian reservations in the surrounding areas, is they will not allow economic development. Oh, we have an economic development bureaucracy of the Bureau of Indian Affairs. We have an economic development committee and office in tribal government. And we give out proposals after proposals to the federal government and other institutions of America for economic development. But it'll never happen, and here's why. In the state of South Dakota, there are 9 Sioux Indian reservations. We are 10% of the population, yet we are 25% of the tax base of the state of South Dakota. 10% that we pay no property taxes. That's the only tax we do not pay. But we pay all the other taxes. How does 10% on an Indian reservation where there is no place to spend money? That's the key, see? No place to spend money. So we will never be allowed to have economic development because our welfare checks, our welfare, everything that's the apparatus for the Bureau of Indian Affairs, all that funding for all the departments that come onto reservations, that immediately leaves the reservation into the white surrounding border towns like Rapid City, Sioux Falls, Aberdeen, and on and on and on. And in Nebraska, the border towns of Nebraska that surround our reservations. So you see, the real welfare recipients are not us, but it's the state of South Dakota and the panhandle of Nebraska and the counties of Montana, North Dakota, and Wyoming. So that's where our money goes. You know, we Indian people on the reservation, some of us actually believe we put that welfare money in our pockets. But it doesn't happen that way. And I call it welfare money, but it's actually taxpayers' money. It's your money. And it comes flying by. And we get to reach up and touch it. Some of us in tribal government and government programs, we get to touch more of it than 90% of the rest of us. And as it flies by, because it's flying by to the white community. South Dakota, Washington, D.C., and their think tanks, they don't want to get the state of South Dakota or the surrounding area off of welfare. Our welfare. So we will never. And then if we do want to put up businesses, which there are a few, you know, we have a gas station over here, convenience store over there, maybe a donut shop here. Pine Ridge, we have a coffee shop. At any rate, what happens, we don't have any supermarkets, we don't have any banks, we don't have anything except a gas station. Now, for that money, of course, we suffer under horrible government programs. So I want you to understand why there will never be economic development for Indian people. But the real reason, of the 50 million acres that we still call reservation lands in the United States of America, that's just 50 million acres. Not very much when you look at the totality area of America and Alaska. But nevertheless, we have 40% of the total natural resource wealth under and on our lands. Under and on our lands. The United States never is going to allow us to develop those. So you see, that's the real reason they keep us as paupers. It's the real reason they poison us and disease us. And that's because we have the wealth. If we were allowed to participate in the capitalistic society of America, we would be richer than the Saudis. But that's not in America's plan. America doesn't want to share anything anywhere unless even their own welfare money, your money, taxpayer money, goes flying through our reservation. It's been proven by a doctoral study that we contribute more to the economy of Rapid City, South Dakota than Ellsworth Air Force Base, a major Air Force base in the defense of America. We contribute more to the local economy there. So you see, colonialism in America and communism works. Also, I want you to know that legally we haven't any recourse because, you see, the United States Constitution does not protect us on a reservation. It protects you if you're a non-Indian, but it doesn't protect us. We haven't any constitutional proof. We're in human limbo. We can't go anywhere for protection. So that's life today for us on the reservation. That's why we have the Republic of Lakota. That's why we withdrew. And I don't care what the minions of the federal government do. I'm calling them the scouts, the people who work, the Indian people. Allegedly, they call themselves Indian people, and they work in the tribal governments. No matter what they say, it's a lie. You know? They're just dogs sniffing under the table for scraps from the federal government, from the taxpayers. So I want you to understand, to be free in this country, and you got to understand is what's happening to you all, the same thing. You know, I lived through it. Especially you young people, you haven't any idea that this nation was turned from a productive society. And around the end of Eisenhower's term as President of the United States, they began to switch to a consumer society. They start pulling out, outsourcing all the jobs. Now you have America, one huge Indian reservation. No economic development. You can't even support yourselves unless you sell munitions to Israel or somewhere else in the world, to all of African nations. So you see, colonialism works against the Indian. Colonialism works against the American. Okay. The next time I talk with you, it'll be a little happier subject. It'll be about freedom.
They say they have a right to the land.
Yes, and it's never been finally determined in the courts or by the means that are open as to just who does own the land. It's still in litigation.
Do you think maybe that's why you're letting them stay there?
You know, there's a 50% chance they're right, that it is theirs. That does give them possibly a little bit more of a right than you and I might have.